Hello guys, and welcome back to another video, and yet another video on the BMW. Now then, last week I cleaned the exterior of my car. I gave it a good wash. It hadn't been washed for a good few months, so I gave it the works. And I also asked if you guys would be interested in seeing me clean the interior of my car. So generally when I clean my interior, I just kind of clean the parts that I can see, give it a good vacuum out, maybe wipe down the seats or whatever. But today I'm going to kind of give it a good interior detail, you could say. So I want to get to the areas that you can't normally reach. So it's going to mean taking most of the interior out. When I say most of the interior, I pretty much just mean the seats, and that's obviously going to expose a lot of areas that you can't usually see, but I'm sure there's going to be a whole load of dirt, grime, and I'm hoping some money as well. I'm hoping some coins have fell down the sides of seats and things, so we can kind of make a little profit out of this. But yeah, it's not going to be that easy because BMW E60 seats, they are quite big and bulky. I have got the memory seats with the headrests that do not remove. So it's going to be interesting getting these out of the doors with, without ruining my paintwork or whatever else. But I'm sure we'll get there. We'll just take our time. We've got a few hours to get this done. It's another lovely day as well. And yeah, just going to enjoy it really, but without rambling on too much, let's just get right into things and then let's see what we're working with. Okay then, so just a quick walk round. Obviously we have the two seats in the front, they need to come out, and then we have a rear bench. I don't think I'm going to remove the back part of it. I think I'm just going to remove the bench part. I think that just lifts up out of the way, but because these are heated rear seats, I need to obviously not just pull it up straight away. I'm guessing there's going to be a few connectors and whatever that I need to disconnect, because there's got to be all the heating elements that go through the seat and whatever else. But before I go ahead and get onto the seats, I think what I'm going to do is actually just take out all of the floor mats. So there's 4 floor mats, and I'm actually just going to clear the boot space as well. So just take all these mats out, take everything out, just completely gut the boot so that is all ready to be cleaned, and then obviously we'll move on to the seats themselves. Okay then, so that is the boot cleared out. That is all of the mats removed. So there's the rears and the fronts. Okay, so to give us as good of access as possible to remove the driver's seat, now because I don't want to remove the steering wheel, I'm just going to use the adjustable steering column to just push the steering wheel up and away. And that's as far away as possible now, and it's going to give me the best possible chance of getting this seat out. And the next thing I'm going to do is lower both of the headrests, obviously to give us better access as well. That's just that one there. Okay then, so now that we have reduced the seats down to as small as possible, we have pushed the steering wheel away from us. The first thing I'm going to do to remove these seats is gain access to the rear bolts. To do this, I'm going to have to push the seat all the way forward, and then there is 2 Torx bolts, and then I'm going to undo both of them. Okay then, so these are T50 bolts. They come out relatively easy. Obviously it's a lot easier if you have an impact wrench. That's both of them out, and then I believe there is these plastic clips that should slide off, but you need to remember how these go back on because they can be a little bit of a pain. There we go, it goes on Okay, so it has a little, okay. Doesn't snap, does it? No, okay, so it has like a couple of little locating tabs on it, and that's, I guess that kind of hooks around there, and it slots in like so. So that's one removed. Let's get this other one off. There we go, that's both of them removed. And we can already see the amount of dirt that is built up down here. Now we couldn't see this before because this was underneath them plastic trim pieces, but yeah, all that's going to be removed once we have the seats out. But now that the rear bolts are removed, it's time to slide the seat back, all the way back, so we can access the bolts on the front. Now there's 4 in total. Okay, so before we send the seat backwards, it's a good idea, while the seat is in the forward position, it's a good idea to take this side trim panel off, because we need access to the bolt that holds the seat belt on. It's a lot easier just to remove it from the seat itself than try to remove like half the side paneling trim in the car. So once this is removed, I can now send the seat backwards. Now then, before I kind of skip a few steps, to access the bolts on the front, there is a few more trim pieces that I need to remove. And I'm pretty sure this is only because it is the memory seats. But first of all, you need to remove this trim panel at the front. Then you need to remove this trim panel at the side. And then, like the kind of little trim pieces on the rear, that removes as well. And then, well, you should be able to see, but we have an ancient chewing gum. This looks like a Trident Soft. Do they even make them anymore? This must be best part 10 years old. That's not good. But anyway, I don't know if you can see there, but we have access to the bolt now just down there. So I just need to do the exact same on the other side, and then we should be able to get these out then. Okay then, so as you can see, we have one of the front seats out. This is the passenger side. That's the seat. Now, it is very important before you disconnect any of this wiring to disconnect the battery, so just make sure you take the negative terminal off the battery. I'll just show you that now. There you go, just got the negative terminal off the battery, and it just means that we're not going to potentially short anything or create any SRS error codes. But as you can see, this place is filthy. But before we get on to that, I'm going to show you exactly how to remove the driver's side. In theory, the driver's side should be a little bit more difficult because obviously we have the steering wheel, but I've covered it over with a sheet just to prevent it from getting scratched or whatever. Now, proceeding on with the driver's seat, I'm going to take the remaining 2 front bolts out. That's one. See that? Now the seat can actually just be rocked back, and now we have access to the wiring. So this big plug here, that's just a case of sliding and pulling out. That's that removed. Then we have another one here, which you can't really see the side of it that you need to see, so it's best to just pop this off of its little hanger around here. There we go. That just slides out like so, and then there is, I believe, one more which connects to this wiring loom. Yes, it's this one here. That just pulls out like so. And we just gotta pull this loom from the little clip that holds it in place. And there we go, I'll just pull this clip out. That clips in underneath the seat. And now the seat is free and we can remove it from the car. And if you haven't already done so, it's now a good idea to remove the seat belt. There we go. And this part makes it a whole lot easier if you have someone to help you maneuver the chair around. I need to turn it. You got it? Yeah, I got it. Thanks. And that's the driver's side seat out. And with both of the front seats removed, here is how we're currently looking. It's now time to remove the rear bench. Now then, to get this removed, it should just be a case of lifting it up. There we go. But these are heated, so I've got to be very careful. There is one small connector here, so I'm going to get a little screwdriver just to disconnect that. There we go. That's that one. Is there any more? Let me just check the other side. So this should now just lift out, he says. There we go. Oh, there was another connector on the other side. Good job I didn't yank it. And there we go. It should come out now. That's it. And with that rear bench removed, here is how we're looking. But this is everything that I want to remove. There's just so much dirt and dust in here. I want to get all this cleaned out. Should smell a lot better as well. But here is the carpets. Like I said, the areas that you can generally get to with a vacuum cleaner generally pretty clean, but the sides where you can't usually get to, yeah, just covered in hairs and filth. I'll probably actually remove the subwoofer covers as well, because as you can see, there's a whole lot of dirt and dust gone down there. It's only a case of removing 4 screws. But yeah, a little bit of money as well. Just a shame that it's the old £1 coins, not in circulation anymore, but I think you can still give this to charity. So let's see what we got then. There's £1, there's 5p, we've got £2.15. I've seen something down here. What is it? It's a centre parts token, like a locker token or a trolley token. Probably keep that. But yeah, I don't think there's anything on the rear seats. Now the final thing that we are going to remove, like I said, is the subwoofer covers. This is 4 T20 screws holding them in. Just lift up, and that's just to get any dirt and dust that's foul down onto the speakers themselves. And here is everything that we have removed. Got it all laid out just so I know that it goes back in the place that it was removed from. So we've got all the lower trims for the seats themselves, obviously the mats, all the bolts, the speaker covers, more mats, rear bench, and then the 2 front seats themselves. Now it's time to start hoovering, and we're actually going to start on the rear bench because that is the highest part. And I'm just going to work my way down towards the front. Okay, so I found out that I have a lot of dirt build up around these, I guess you'd call them kind of like cable ties. I've just unclipped the wire out of them, and they just twist off I'm going to remove all these, and it means I can vacuum all that dirt up. Okay, now I've just noticed something. Now, I don't think it's a massive problem, but when I was vacuum cleaning around here, I noticed it looked a little bit wet. And then after lifting this up, you can see this is a bit damp. You know, there's water there, so I don't know if that's something that has leaked on the seat, you know, before, you know, if that's years old or whatever, or if that's leaking from somewhere else. I mean, lifting this up, it would only indicate that it's in this spot, and obviously there's nothing that kind of leads to there, so I don't think it is a leak from anywhere. But what I'm going to do is try and clean this up a little bit, give this area a nice clean. But I mean, after that I think I'm just going to leave it as it is. I'm not going to investigate it any further. Like I said, I don't think it's a leak. I just think it must have been something that's been spilt there before, I guess. And now that I've vacuumed underneath the entire rear bench, it's looking a whole lot better now. I'm actually going to spray some degreaser, all-purpose cleaner, dish soap, whatever you want to call it. It kind of all does the same job, but I'm just going to spray this over just to kind of get it looking a little bit nicer still. And I'm just going to spray this over and then rub it all off. And there we go, all of the cabling back in its place, and that's the underneath of the rear bench looking a whole lot better now, a whole lot cleaner. And now let's vacuum the rest of the car. Okay, so when it comes to the accelerator pedal, it's actually pretty impossible, unless you have a very, very small vacuum cleaner attachment, to get right around the sides. There's a big build-up of just like leaves and road dirt and all the rest of it. So I'm actually just going to remove the accelerator pedal itself, or not completely remove it, just lever it away just so I can get in there a lot easier. It's just held in by one, what is it, a 5mm Allen bolt. I'm just going to remove that now. And I've just went ahead and screwed that back in place. And now what I think I'm going to do is give all this area a good clean with some degreaser, some all-purpose cleaner, whatever you want to call it. And then that will be this general area, the driver's footwell, done. And then what I've done, because there was a few stains on the actual carpet, I've sprayed some of the all-purpose cleaner on there as well. I'm just going to get scrubbing. And that is this side pretty much done. All that's left to do is this speaker cover, and then we can fit it back in place. And that is the subwoofer cover done. Now obviously I've got to do the exact same to the passenger side as well, and this side actually probably looks a little bit worse. A pen, yeah, I don't think that's any good now. But yeah, look at all this crap. But yeah, I'm not going to bother showing you me doing the entire process again that I've just done on that side. So I'll check in with you once this is all clean. And this is what the finished product looks like on this side. And I've actually went ahead and done the boot area as well. Just gave it a good hoover out and then a good degrease. And I think now the only thing left to do on the interior is the center console and the dash and steering wheel, gear knob, all that good stuff. But in reality all it really needs is just a good degrease. I'm just going to be spraying that all-purpose cleaner over everywhere and then giving it a good wipe off. Now a lot of you probably think I'm crazy for just like spraying water all over my dash, but battery's disconnected and it's only a minimal amount. Like I said, I'll be wiping it all off anyway. Now a quick little tip with your steering wheel, you might think that the leather is supposed to be shiny, but it's actually not. It's supposed to be dull. I don't know if you can see here, but you see how it's dull, and up the top here it's more shiny. And if it is shiny, then that means it's just grease on there. So what you need to do is, like I've been doing, is just use some degreaser, an all-purpose cleaner, whatever you want to use, and then just use a microfiber towel just to remove that grease, and then you should find that it returns back to a duller kind of leather look. And with the interior now completely cleaned, it's now just a case of cleaning the seats and then reinstalling them. Okay, so we have the rear seats back in and installed. They have been vacuumed and degreased. Now we just need to get started on the front seats, and then lastly the mats and the little trim pieces. And with both of the front seats nice and clean, it's time to go back in the car. Okay then, so fast forward a couple of hours and the interior is completely done now, so let's take a look. So here is the front. As you can see, seats are all back in, trim pieces are all fitted in around the seats, the mats are back in, everything is looking spotless. And here is a look at the dash again. Center console. Here's a look in the back. Here is a better view in the back. These rear seats just look brand new, to be honest. No wear on them at all. You know, you wouldn't think that they've covered 120 odd thousand miles. Look like they've hardly ever been sat on. Again, carpet and the mats have came up really nice. The only thing that is kind of bugging me is that I'm losing one of these. I'm missing one of these caps to blank off the cigarette lighter, so I need to get one of them, and then it'll kind of be complete then. But yeah, just so clean in here now. And then here is the boot with everything back in. Obviously this hasn't had a whole lot done to it, it's just pretty much had a vacuum and then a clean with the degreaser. But yeah, it looks a whole lot better than it did. Okay then, so that is the complete clean detail, whatever you want to call it, of the interior done. I'm very happy with the results. Like I said, it kind of feels brand new in here now. It's just I don't know, it's just a much nicer place to be. I've got rid of the grease and everything off the places that you touch the most, so the door handles, the steering wheel, gear knob, handbrake lever, and yeah, it just feels so much better in here now. Now obviously you're not going to do this every time you clean the car. To be honest, I don't plan on doing this like ever again. It's one of those things that when you buy a car, you don't kind of know how the previous owners have treated it in the past. So I didn't know that when I removed one of these seats, I was gonna, I could have found like a massive like chocolate stain or whatever, which obviously I would have had to remove. But now that I've done it, now that I've pretty much stripped out the whole interior, I know that what condition it's in, I know that it's now clean, and I just need to do the standard maintenance clean, basically just a vacuum, and get to the places that I can actually access it without removing all the interior. So yeah, it's going to be a lot easier to keep on top of now. And to be honest, I don't really get the interior that dirty anyway, because it's only really me in the car. I don't really have kids in the car or anything, so I don't really mess the interior up too much. It's the outside of the car that I tend to get dirty. But yeah, really pleased with the outcome. It's definitely worth doing. It is going to take you a few hours to do. Just be patient, try not to break any of the trim pieces and everything when you remove the car. Be real careful when you take the seats out and put them back into the car. You don't damage your paintwork or anything. But yeah, everything that I've done has been easy enough to do. You don't really need any mechanical knowledge or anything. It's just a few bolts and a few pulling of the trim pieces off. But yeah, like I said, it's definitely worth doing at least once, especially when you buy the car from another owner, because like I said, you don't know how it's been treated in the past. And yeah, it's just nice to know that it's all been done now. So yeah, I'm not going to ramble on too much. I'm guessing this video has already been way longer than it really should have been. I want to thank you guys for watching. As always, please give this video a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you have not already done so, because I've got so many more videos, of course, to come on this BMW. We're not going to kind of let the whole situation in the world at the moment hold us back from making new videos, so stay tuned for them. And yeah, I'll see you guys in that next video. Peace.